There's a quiet wisdom hidden in the way we hold on to things. Some we truly need: air in our lungs, water to drink, food to nourish us, and love to remind us that we belong. Those are non-negotiable. They form the foundation of life itself. Without them, we cannot survive. But then there are all the other things: desires, ambitions, possessions, even people that slip into our hearts and take root so deeply that we begin to mistake them for needs. And when that happens, life becomes fragile. Because once your sense of worth depends on something outside of yourself, the moment it disappears, you collapse along with it. That's why the invitation I want to offer today is simple but powerful. Want, but don't need. When desire becomes dependence. I once had a friend who loved watches. Not just a little watches were practically his identity. His collection was extensive, expensive, and carefully displayed. He wouldn't even wear shirts that covered his wrist, because the watch had to be seen. It wasn't just an accessory, it was a definition. One day I asked him a blunt question. If you walked out of the house without a watch, would you feel less confident? Would you feel like you were missing a part of yourself? He paused. Then he admitted, honestly, yes. Without a watch, I don't feel like me. That's when I realized his passion had crossed a line. It was no longer about joy, beauty, or interest. It had become dependence. And dependence is dangerous not because watches are bad, but because he had handed over a large part of his identity to an object. If life shook the table and all those watches fell away, who would he be? This is the danger of needing what should only be a want. Love, without losing yourself. We see the same thing in love. When love is healthy, it's a deep want. I want to see you. I want to share my time with you. I want to walk through life beside you. But it still leaves space for breathing, for individuality, for personal growth. But when love becomes a desperate need, it turns into obsession, or what some people call being clingy or needy. That kind of love doesn't lift, it suffocates. If you've ever been in a relationship where the other person can't stand a single day apart, where every moment of silence feels like rejection, you know how draining it can be. And worse, you know how dangerous it becomes when your entire sense of self is tied to whether someone else calls, texts, or stays. Because here's the truth: love should make you stronger, not weaker. If losing it leaves you unable to stand, then it wasn't just love, it was dependency disguised as devotion. Want love, deeply, fiercely, joyfully, but don't let it become the air you breathe. Work without worship. Work, too, has a way of sliding from want into need. Many people pour themselves into their jobs until their entire identity is wrapped up in a career. They are not just teachers, doctors, engineers, or business owners. They are nothing but that role. But what happens when retirement comes, or the market changes, or health forces you to stop? I've seen it firsthand. People who lived for nothing but work, and when work was gone, so was their joy. They woke up every morning with nothing left to anchor them. They wandered through their days, restless and hollow, as if life had ended before death did. Work is important. Purpose is essential, but neither should be allowed to swallow the whole of who you are, because if your entire being rests on one fragile pillar, you've already set yourself up for collapse. Want to do meaningful work? Pour yourself into it, but don't need it so much that when it disappears, you disappear too. The subtle power of choice. When you reduce something from a need to a want, you reclaim your freedom. Think about it. If you need it, then it controls you. You'll do whatever it takes to have it, keep it, or protect it. But if you only want it, then you remain in charge. You can enjoy it when it's there and let go gracefully when it's not. This doesn't mean becoming detached or indifferent. It means living with gratitude and balance. You can love your partner with all your heart and still be okay on days apart. You can cherish your career and still cultivate hobbies, friendships, and quiet spaces that remind you there is more to life. You can delight in your possessions without tying your self-worth to them. In short, you can live fully without living fragile. A practical reflection. So, how do you practice this philosophy in daily life? Start small. Choose one thing in your life you might be leaning on too heavily. Maybe it's your phone, your partner's attention, your job title, or even coffee. Ask yourself, if this disappeared tomorrow, would I collapse? Would I lose my sense of self? If the answer makes you uneasy, that's your signal. That's where you begin the work. The goal isn't to stop loving, working, or enjoying. The goal is to shift from "I can't live without this" to "I love having this, but I'll be okay without it." That's the subtle, liberating power of turning needs back into wants. The heart of resilience. At the end of the day, life will take things from us. Relationships end, careers change, bodies age, possessions fade. That's the unavoidable reality of being human. The question isn't whether we'll lose. The question is whether we'll crumble when we do. And the answer depends on where you've placed your sense of worth. If it's locked inside something external, an object, a person, a job, then yes, life will break you again and again. But if your worth is rooted in something deeper, something internal, something that no one and nothing can take away, then you can walk through loss with grace. That doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It means the pain won't define you. Want, but don't need. That's not just a catchy phrase. It's a shield, a guide, a way of living that gives you freedom no matter what life hands you. A gentle invitation. So here's my invitation to you. Look at your own life. Where have your wants quietly become needs? Where have you handed over your freedom to something or someone outside of yourself? Take it back, not by rejecting love or work or beauty, but by holding them more lightly, by loving them without clinging, by enjoying them without depending. That's how you find peace. That's how you build resilience. And that's how you learn to walk through this unpredictable, imperfect, beautiful life without breaking every time the wind shifts. If this reflection touched your heart, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and share your own story. Hit like if this resonated with you. Subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation. And if you think someone you love needs this reminder, share it with them today. Because the more we remind each other to want but not need, the stronger, freer, and happier we all become.